Hi everybody, here's my rumination for this week. Uh, we discussed comparative rhetoric in connection to both Native American rhetorics and then also Far East rhetorics in Mesopotamia, and then also Egyptian rhetorics as well. Throughout each of those discussions, we really focused heavily on the rhetorics of silence, and that's what I really honed in on in my discussion question, and that's what I connected back to a lot, and that's what I'm still trying to kind of pick at and poke at. The question that I had is, how do virtue and silence situate itself in the framework of Egyptian rhetoric? And the virtue and silence going back and forth and kind of connecting to itself, because I pulled a piece out of what can be possibly termed as the oldest rhetoric handbook, the instruction of Elatep, probably not pronouncing that right. If you meet a disputant in action who is your equal on your level, you will make your worth exceed his by silence. And that's still really connecting with me. How you just have to kind of let that talk itself out, and how you have to how your silence is actually going to show more superiority and also show more virtue, and show you as an orator, and show respect as well, that you're listening. And one way that I've been thinking the last few days, I didn't bring it up in class, but I've been thinking kind of in between classes, is how does disability, the rhetoric of disability, focus in on this specifically with stuttering. So, the utterances that I have, when I have when I have a long block and people will try to interrupt me, or people will don't know how to interact with that silence, so they make facial expressions, or they laugh, or they do some type of other rhetorical expression, and they don't know how to interact with the rhetoric and the oratory and of my stutter, which that's what I've been kind of playing with in my head, is actually like a speech impediment, or is that actually an individual type of oratory, if it's actually like a disability. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I've been thinking about that. Yeah, I guess I'm really trying to think about this, and how a person, if they're just listening to me and trying to hear what I'm saying, based on my communication, and trying to hear me through my stutter, and not trying to get caught up in that rhetoric of my stutter, that rhetoric of my oratory, which probably isn't oratory because I'm not planning to stutter, but it's wrapped up in it somehow. It's conflated in my head. I'm trying to think about it, because I'm curious about how that works, how my speech, how my stuttering inflates my oratory and my rhetoric, and how it maybe inflates my virtue, and that silence, if people respect that silence and let me talk, or break that silence. Going back to that translation that Kennedy talks about, that if you meet a disputant in action who is your equal on your level, you will make your worth exceed his by silence. Trying to make that level playing field, I think, is really important. So that would be kind of interesting to see with like disability studies to see where that kind of fits in. That's what I'm trying to see, where it fits in. Things have been kind of rolling in my head with disability and speech, with all of the rhetorics of silence, because there is a lot of awkward silence breaks with my speech. Yeah, that's what I don't really have a hard, solid answer. I'm still kind of poking at it. Okay, I guess that's it for this week. Bye.